Wat de Joden overkwam tijdens de Holocaust door de nazi's, precies dat doen ze nu de Palestijnen aan. Dit standpunt wint in Nederland langzaam aan populariteit. Maar in de Arabische media wordt het al jarenlang, ook door serieuze nieuwszenders, gebruikt als argument tegen de oorlog tussen Israël en de Palestijnen. Dit is één voorbeeld van de wijdverbreide narratieven over Israël. Dr. Mordechai Kedar is Midden-Oostendeskundige en docent aan de faculteit Arabisch aan de Bar-Ilan Universiteit. Hij wordt regelmatig geïnterviewd door grote Arabische zenders en daar geconfronteerd met verdraaide historische feiten, met jodenhaat en met valse narratieven. Mr. Kedar, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you in our studio.
To be here.
And before we start our interview, we want to start with a video fragment that was a few months ago was recorded by Sky News Arabic, in which the interviewer is asking you a question about the history of Palestinian people.
من أين شوف فكرة فلسطين فكرة جديدة. ليس هناك أي كتاب أي جريدة تتكلم عن الشعب الفلسطيني في القرن التاسع عشر وما قبله. ليس هناك عملة فلسطينية. ليس هناك ملك فلسطيني أو قائد فلسطيني من القرن التاسع عشر وما قبل ذلك. كل هذا الشيء الفلسطيني هو وليد الستينيات بعد أن احتلت إسرائيل أو حررت إسرائيل الأجزاء التي احتلتها الأردن في غرب نهر الأردن ومصر في قطاع غزة. هذا أول شيء. فكرة الشعب الفلسطيني قد قامت لاستبدال إسرائيل وأنا أبرهن
هناك من يرى العكس.
هذا
فكرة الشعب الإسرائيلي.
هذه لفحة.
اسمح لي سيد كيدار.
شوفي هذه اللفحة الفلسطينية. شوفي هذا شوفي هذا العلم الفلسطيني وهذا هو وهذه خارطة شو فلسطين. أين إسرائيل؟ أين إسرائيل؟ إذا هذا كان فلسطين فأين هي إسرائيل؟ هذا هو فكرة فلسطين قامت لإزالة إسرائيل من هذه الأرض وهذا هو الأساس التفكير العربي والإسلامي هؤلاء الذين يدعون إلى هذا الشيء والفلسطيني لاستبدال إسرائيل بدعوى بأن القدس لنا. متى كانت القدس عاصمة لأي شيء عربي أو إسلامي؟ ولا ليوم
يعني هذه.
So Mordechai, we saw this video fragment where you showed the flag of Palestine, which is actually the map of Israel. So this is also one of the narratives that you have been confronted with in the interviews that you have with Arabic television. Eh? Is this especially after 7th of October or already many years before?
I am talking about this for many years, since I started my career in the Arab media in the mid-90s.
Mid-90s already.
Since I left the army, I could go to the media.
Yeah, because you have been in the public debate, especially in Arab media, for many years then. So October 7th, how did it change your media context there?
No, it became more intense. But the debates which I had in the Arab media was already 20 or more years, especially on Al Jazeera and other Arabic-speaking media outlets, because unfortunately there are not too many Israelis who can speak in literary Arabic, not colloquial Arabic, and present a nice Jewish, Zionist, Israeli approach in good Arabic.
So there's not so many, but you are one of them.
I'm one of them because I invested in learning Arabic. I learned Arabic since I was in high school. And in the army, my Arabic became even better in the university. And I don't know what you think about my English, but my Arabic is better. So, yes, and you need to control the event in the media, to know what to say, to be with an answer, and to phrase it in good Arabic, so the viewers will like to hear it.
Understand it, yeah. So we're going to talk about that later, but talking about October 7th, you say the interviews intensified, so they were more often. How was October 7th for you personally?
Look, I'm for many years talk about the difference in thinking between us Israelis and our neighbors, Arabs, Muslims. Unfortunately, Israelis are not aware of the culture around us because they think like Westerners. Their mind is in London or in Amsterdam or in New York or in Los Angeles. This is their place which they are relating to. They don't care about Cairo, they don't care about Beirut, Damascus. Anyway, they cannot go there.
They're not so focused on the Middle East, you're saying?
And they don't speak Arabic. So Israel is actually an island of Western culture inside the Middle East.
So how did October 7th change that?
Now we are much more aware of what they want to do to us. Because Israelis, especially modern Israelis, tend to think that, like everybody in the postmodern world, that oh, this is the same. Everybody wants the same. Good life, good economy, good health, good car, good house. Everybody, a Muslim, a Jewish, a Christian, everybody is the same thing. Therefore, if they have a state in Gaza, it means that they want development, they want good health, good economy, good income. And this is what we thought about Gaza.
Right.
What happened in October 7th actually struck us with the reality that these people in Gaza think from the point of view of jihad. And jihad means a war, holy war. And whatever they did for 16 and a half years, since Hamas took Gaza over in June 2007, what they did is to deceive us. They cheated us to make us believe that all they want is good life, good health, and we ignored the development of the army, which they did, and their plans as well.
Right.
I wrote already in April 2023, half a year before the war, I wrote a whole article. It was translated to many languages about the war which awaits us, which is an all-out war by all the proxies of Iran, Hezbollah and the 17 militias in Syria, in Iraq, the 50 militias, the Houthis in Yemen, Hamas and the Islamic Jihad in Gaza. Everybody might one day attack us all with incursion on the ground.
Surprise,
You can read it. And this is what I was more than sure that this is what will happen. I didn't know when.
No.
But for me, it was more than clear.
Yeah, but talking also about the PR war, I said it also in my introduction. We are going to talk in this interview about the narrative. It seems now that Israel is also fighting a PR war, so to say, and that the Palestinian narrative is also gaining more and more ground here in Europe. How do you explain that?
Look, the war started with a big support to Israel because the world knew or actually saw in video what happened on October 7th. How 1,200 Israelis, men, women, boys, girls, were murdered, raped, burnt, beheaded. Even one little infant was put into the oven and was burnt in an oven. To that degree, these beasts, how they did what they did to us. So the world was with us.
But it changed very soon.
I think for like a month, more or less.
And then it changed.
And Israel has a big credit to go to Gaza and to do whatever needed in order to get rid of these terrorists.
But what made that change, according to you?
What made the change is the scenes of what happened in Gaza. Because they, means the Hamas fighters, the Hamas terrorists, are hiding behind women and children in civil houses because they don't have army like, like divisions and camps. So, inevitably, you have to attack people because you have to kill these murderers. So, the numbers which came from Gaza of men, women, children were very big, and nobody could challenge what Hamas claimed. If they say 1,000 people got killed, nobody knows it was only 100.
No.
And this was the only version.
Yeah, that's real.
Everybody quotes Hamas as if Hamas are credible. And they never talked about how many fighters were killed. They always talked about civilians.
Are the victims, right? But still, you give interviews for Arab media. What is the reason you do that? What do you try to gain with that?
Well, I am defending my country, my people, my land, because it is, like everybody. Look, I spent 25 years in the IDF, in the intelligence, and we are at war. They want to get rid of us.
So it's a way to defend your country?
I'm a soldier.
Yeah.
In the battlefield of the media.
Let's go to a next fragment, because a few years ago you were a guest on an Al Jazeera interview. Let's watch the fragment.
لبيب مردخاي كيدار من قسم الدراسات العربية في جامعة بار-إيلان. سيد مردخاي، هذا القرار هل هو دق مزيد من الأسافين في نعش المفاوضات الفلسطينية الإسرائيلية؟
أنا حقيقة لا أفهم هذا الكلام. هل على إسرائيل أن تبحث عن إذن من أين في العالم؟ هذه عاصمتنا منذ 3000 عام، وكنا هناك عندما كان آباؤكم يشربون الخمر ويئدون البنات ويعبدون العزى واللات والمنات، فلماذا علينا أن نتكلم عن هذا الشيء؟ هذه هي مدينتنا من 3000 عام وإلى أبد الآبدين.
يا أخي إذا كنت تريد عفوا سيد مردخاي، عفوا إذا كنت تريد أن تتحدث عن التاريخ، أيضا نحن نتحدث عن القرآن. لا يمكن لك أن تلغي القدس من القرآن. أرجوك أن تبتعد عن الألفاظ التي تسيء للعرب والمسلمين، رجاء لنبقى في موضوعنا لو سمحت. الآن هذا القرار ألا يتعارض؟
لم يرد ذكر القدس في القرآن.
سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده.
ذكر القدس لم يرد في القرآن
طيب
ولو مرة واحدة.
يا سيدي لنتحدث بالسياسة. عفوا لنتحدث بالسياسة.
الجزيرة.
لنتحدث بالسياسة لو سمحت.
Okay.
So we talked about the fact that you are a regular guest in Arabic media. Do you manage to get your message through there?
Definitely. This clip which you just showed about the debate about Jerusalem in the Quran made a whole wave in the Islamic world. I know it because I saw it.
Explain me, what do you mean?
Many people, many Muslims who watched it, it is in Arabic, they were not aware of the fact that Jerusalem does not appear in the Quran. They thought it does. What appears in the Quran is the Al-Aqsa Mosque.
But not the name Al-Quds.
Not the name Al-Quds. But originally, the Al-Aqsa Mosque was not in Jerusalem. According to Islamic sources, the Al-Aqsa Mosque was near a place named Ju'urana, to the northeast from Mecca, 29 kilometers, in what today is Saudi Arabia.
So not in Israel?
Not in Israel at all. It was brought to Israel by the Umayyads 50 years after Muhammad died, because of a rebellion in Mecca of somebody named Abdullah ibn Zubayr, who rebelled against the Umayyads, and he did not allow the Umayyads to come to Hajj because they claimed that they are infidels, they left Islam. So they took Jerusalem as an alternative place to Hajj, and they made the story of the night journey to Jerusalem and the ascension to Allah. In order to convince the Muslims to come to Hajj to Jerusalem, they stole a golden dome from Baalbek, from a church in Baalbek in Lebanon, and they forced the Christians of Baalbek to bring the dome to Jerusalem and to install it on in the what they call the
Aqsa.
It was a theft.
But to come back to the fact that you say that many Muslims who are watching it, they had no clue that Al-Quds was not in the Quran.
And at least two of them wrote a whole essay about how Jerusalem, how Al-Quds became so holy for Muslims. And they actually denied the whole thing. And they found the concoctions and the lies which were inserted into the hadith, into the oral tradition in Islam, in order to convince the people to come to Hajj to Jerusalem instead of Mecca.
So it has some impact one way or
another. Of course.
So Also, when we are watching, me as a European, when I'm watching these kind of interviews, it feels also a little bit tense because the conversation is very intense. You're talking through each other at the same time with a raised voice. Is this, what is your opinion?
Well, this is connected to something else. The culture of speech in the European media and in the Arab media, totally different.
Totally different, yeah.
In Europe, you can actually describe the conversation as a ping-pong game. In the Arab media, is a free wrestling.
That's the difference.
Different.
Yeah. Do they take you seriously?
Yes. Yes, and I know it because in Al Jazeera, they had some kind of a contest. Who will succeed to defeat me on air? And they fail one after the other because, after all, I know about their history better than them. After all, this is my profession. Secondly, my Arabic, the literary Arabic, sometimes is better than theirs. Thirdly, I work with ideology. They work for the income.
That's the difference.
I'm defending my people.
Yeah.
I'm defending my religion. I defend my land.
Yeah,
I defend my state.
You would say that perhaps they might not take you seriously because you're Jewish, after all, and you're the enemy.
Yes. Yet, in the Arab world, they think that Israel is like a puzzle. They don't understand Israel, how this country works. A democracy, but wins the wars. Open society, which allows everyone to speak, and even Arabs and Muslims who live in Israel live in a democratic state. How can it work? Because it's totally different from their states. So they want to listen, they want to hear, and this is why it has an impact.
Yeah. So there is also a lot of misconception about historical facts in the Arabic media, and one of the fragments where you explain something about being a Palestinian or having a Palestinian passport, we're going to watch now.
أهلا بك دكتور مردخاي. نستمر طبعا في حوارنا. قبل قليل سألتك عن إنكارك عادة وتركيز خطابك على نكران وجود الشعب الفلسطيني في أرض فلسطين التاريخية. لكن ماذا عن اعترافات جولدا مائير رئيسة وزراء إسرائيل السابقة التي تقول فيها وبكل وضوح: أنا فلسطينية وكنت فلسطينية منذ عام 1921 حتى عام 1948 وكنت أحمل الجواز الفلسطيني. بهذه الطريقة دكتور كيدار ألا تقوم بشطب الفلسطيني من التاريخ ومن الجغرافيا على أنه شعب عاش في هذه الأرض؟
الأخت فضيلة، والدي الذين رجعوا إلى هذه الأرض في الثلاثينيات، أنا ولدت في الخمسينيات، هم أيضا مثل جولدا مائير كانوا يحملون بطاقة الهوية التابعة للانتداب البريطاني على فلسطين أرض إسرائيل. فلسطين أرض بمعنى فلسطين أرض إسرائيل. هذا كان الاسم الرسمي للانتداب البريطاني، وهم مثل جولدا مائير حملوا نفس البطاقة. فماذا أنا؟ فلسطيني ولا لا؟
أجبني أنت تسألني، أنت اللي تجيب يا دكتور كيدار.
فكرة فلسطين انتهت في العام 48 عند انتهاء الانتداب البريطاني.
So Mordechai, we're talking about disinformation, things that are being said by the interviewer that are factually not true. Do you believe that they believe you when you answer them?
Well, there are those who believe, there's those who hate me. Look, when it comes to the Palestinian issue, we have all to bear in mind that until 60, 70 years ago, nobody in the world talked about a Palestinian people. Even the partition plan of the 1947 from the General Assembly of the United Nations, they talked about Jewish state and Arab state.
Not Palestinian.
Not Palestinian state. Palestine was the land which was shared by both the Jews and the Arabs. And this, to be a Palestinian, as an Arab Palestinian, this is a new thing. Why? Even under the British mandate between 1923 and 1948, everybody carried the same identity card of the mandate, which was for Palestina, Eretz Israel. Palestine, the land of Israel. My parents as well.
Yeah.
So this is...
So
by the
Arab
way,
and Jews alike, they both
yeah,
had that
yeah,
passport,
Arabs and Jews alike. They had the same identity card of the British mandate on Palestine, Eretz Israel.
But we have Google right now, so why are these interviewers not able to prepare an interview and check their facts? What is...
Today, they live in their narrative. That the Palestinians are actually the descendants of the Jebusites. No connection, or Canaanites, or whatever. Absolutely no connection, because the Arabs came first to the land of Israel in 637 CE. It's a new thing.
So you say it's a narrative that is made up and they start to believe it?
Look, the Iraqis claim that they are the descendants of the Babylonians. The Syrians claim that they are descendants of the Assyrians. The Lebanese claim that they are the descendants of the Phoenicians. The Egyptians claim that they are the descendants of the pharaohs. So the Palestinians claim that they are the descendants of the Canaanites, of the Jebusites. You know, everyone in the Middle East, although they are all Arabs who came in the 7th century from the Arab Peninsula, they claim that they are the descendants of the people who lived thousands of years earlier. It's all concoction.
Yeah.
But this is how you make history. You produce history. And you believe in it. So this is what we have to say. I asked them in some other interviews, tell me one name of a Palestinian leader from the 19th century, poet, minister. What was the currency of the Palestinian people before the 20th century? Nobody knows, because there was no such a thing. You know, even in the official Turkish Ottoman maps, Palestine does not appear. This was whole Sham. The Sham means big Syria. Palestine is the British.
A country. But so you're giving these interviews for big Arabic channels. Can you say all those things that you say safely?
Look, my face is familiar. Whenever I go in East Jerusalem, for example, they recognize me. Even when I go in Europe, some places, Muslims and Arabs recognize me.
Yeah.
And it's okay. I live with this. This is a price which...
They recognize you, and what do they say to you then?
Doctor Kedar, ahlan wa sahlan, means Dr. Kedar, nice to see you, usually.
Yeah.
Especially in Europe, they don't, you know. So far, I'm alive.
Luckily. Yeah. So why do they invite you, since you represent such an unpopular position for them?
Even the manager, the editor of Al Jazeera, Jamal Rayyan, admitted that we are bringing Israelis in order to devour them on air, to disrupt their narrative. We bring Israelis in order to, he said, whenever I interview an Israeli, I see him as a prey. But he continues and saying that once I had Professor Mordechai Kedar, who gave me a hard time.
Yeah.
This was in the interview.
This is the goal that they have, but still they don't manage to get you as a prey.
It all depends.
They still continue.
It all depends on who they are interviewing. If there's somebody who knows Arabic and knows what to say and knows how to face them and have the willing to do it. Because unfortunately, there are some people in Israel from the left side of the political map who present actually the Palestinian side of the struggle. Yeah. So some of them are frequently being interviewed, and I must say that there is censorship. Since October 7, I was in the BBC Arabic at least once every day for either analysis or, you know, to talk about what happens in the war, because it was very at the beginning of the war. It lasted like a month and a half. Every single day I had in the BBC Arabic.
And then they stopped?
Then it stopped immediately. So suddenly it stopped. And after like a couple of days, I noticed, hey, where are the BBC? They don't call me anymore. I went to the last interview to see, maybe I said something. Sure enough, the interviewer asks me, what do you think? What do you say about those Israelis who compare Hamas people to beasts, to animals? I said I don't compare them to animals because this is humiliation for the animals. This was the last time
that they ask you,
which the BBC invited me.
Yeah.
Means even the British Broadcast Corporation censors Israelis when they don't like what these Israelis say.
Yeah. So this interview is about the narratives and also the bias against Israel and the Jewish people. It goes even further, that also the comparison is being made between the Holocaust, what the Nazis did, is compared to what Israel is doing in Gaza. But let's take a look because we also have a fragment from that.
يمكن أن تستمع جيدا لهذا السؤال. الاضطهاد للشعب الفلسطيني، الترحيل منذ 48 منذ أيضا 67، القتل الجماعي، إلى ما ذلك. ألم تعاني أو يعاني اليهود من ذلك من قبل النازيين في الهولوكوست؟ يعني اليهود الآن يقومون بإيذاء الفلسطينيين كما ينظر وكما يرى البعض بالضبط كما فعل النازيون في الفلسطينيين.
والدي المرحوم كان قد في الحرب في 48 كان في هذه الأرض، وهو قد سمع بأذنيه الصراخات لهؤلاء: اذبح اليهود، اذبح اليهود. هذا كان الشعار العام في تلك الحرب، وسمعناه مرة أخرى في 7 من أكتوبر. فماذا يريدون هؤلاء؟ العيش بالسلام معنا على أرض أجدادنا أم لا؟ وعندما نسمع اذبح اليهود هذا يعيدنا إلى أوشفيتس.
So the Gaza war, we have our reports from news channels here in the Netherlands, the Dutch ones, the English ones that we understand. We don't understand so much as you, the Arabic news channels. So how is the Gaza war and Israel reported in the Arabic media? If you have to summarize in one sentence.
Well, in all the Arab channels, they forgot about what happened in October 7. In the good case. In the bad case, they deny. They, even to me, I think it was in Russia Today, once I talked about what they did on October 7, when they burnt and they raped, says, there is no proof. The guy in Russia Today in Arabic, there is no proof. You can prove it. Go to Telegram and look at what they uploaded to Telegram. The murderers, what they did. How they kill, how they rape, I'm not sure, but I didn't watch them all. But what they did with the corpses of the Israelis, how they beheaded some Israelis. Definitely, they with big pride, they uploaded those clips.
So you say it's being denied, 7th of October?
Of course, and Russia Today denies it, or Arabs. So, yes, there is some kind of denial of what was in October 7, but since they don't show or they deny, now there is no justification for the war that Israel is against Gaza. Why do you do this? There was nothing on October 7. This is the innuendo.
Yeah. Is there a difference between the English Al Jazeera and the Arabic Al Jazeera?
A slight difference. The Al Jazeera in English tries to be more American-like channel, while in Arabic they are all out against Israel. And the main, look, Al Jazeera is like 10 channels. Al Jazeera Clip, Al Jazeera History, Al Jazeera Economy.
Many of them, yeah.
There are many channels. But the main one, the news one, is totally recruited to Hamas.
Totally recruited to Hamas.
Yes, because don't forget, Al Jazeera is broadcast by Qatar. And Qatar supports Hamas financially and in every possible way. Yeah. So actually, Gaza as a Muslim Brotherhood and the Hamas state was a project by Qatar.
So why do you want to affiliate with such a channel?
I don't want to affiliate with them. They give me the pulpit. And I actually openly, in Israel, I encourage the Israeli authorities to close the Al Jazeera channel in Israel. Means, why should they work from Israel? Let them wage their jihad, the media jihad, against us from other places. Why do we have to give them facilities?
Yeah.
Why do we have to give them the scenery to Al Jazeera? They are enemies. And Israel knows how to kick out channels. We don't allow Al-Manar, which belongs to Hezbollah. We don't allow Al-Alam, the Iranian in Arabic channel. When we don't allow the Al-Aqsa channel, which belongs to Hamas, to work in Israel. It is against the law.
So Al Jazeera.
And Al Jazeera is no less enemy to Israel compared to all those. Unfortunately, Israel needed Qatar to mediate between us and Hamas about releasing the hostages.
Yeah.
But this is why, the only reason why Al Jazeera still works from within Israel.
So where does it come from that there is such an anti-Jewish, anti-Israel sentiment in Arab countries? What is the reason?
Well, for this you have to understand the Islamic mindset. According to the Muslim Brotherhood kind of thinking, Judaism is null and void. Din batil, as they say in Arabic, because Christianity replaced it, but Christianity also was replaced by Islam. So both Judaism and Christianity are null and void. Din batil, as they say in Arabic, and only Islam is din haq, religion of truth. So since Judaism was cancelled, why do we need a Jewish state?
So we have to wipe it out.
We have to wipe it out. This is one reason. Second reason is the land of Israel. This is an Islamic land because according to Islam, any land which was under Islamic rule should forever be under Islamic rule. So now the Jews took it out. They are not allowed. Third thing is that Judaism or Jews are not a nation. They are communities which belong to all the nations in the world. So since they are not a nation, why do they need a state? And the fourth thing is that Jews anyway, and Christians as well, should live under the Islamic rule as dhimmis, people who live under the Islamic yoke. And they have no right to a state, they have no right to an army, police, on any manifestation of sovereignty. But the worst thing is Jews praying on the Temple Mount. And this is something which, like a culmination of the threat, theological threat on Islam, because the mere state of Israel, the existence of the state of Israel, which is against Islam, and the Jews control the country, and Jerusalem, and Jews pray in Temple Mount, it all means that Judaism is in a resurrection of Judaism with the help of the Christianity. Means Lord Balfour, who promised the land, means it's a Jewish-Christian collaboration,
against
conspiracy against Islam, to bring Judaism back to life.
Yeah, now, in one of the interviews that you gave for the Arab television, you mentioned that you have at home hundreds of recordings of hate speech made by religious leaders in the Al-Aqsa Mosque.
Yes.
So, why do you keep track of all these recordings?
Well, this is what my research university, and I learn from them. Look, what they say in sermons is way much more influential than anything which is written in a book or in a pamphlet or in a booklet or whatever.
Can you give an example of what they say?
Of course. And they always say it in a way which will not incriminate them. Means to be with the law. I'll give a good example. When the second Intifada started in the end of September 2000, Hamas started immediately with terror attack, with suicide attacks against buses, against restaurants. Arafat was afraid, and he forced his terror organization, the Shuhada al-Aqsa, not to come out and blow Israeli buses. And it was until May 2001. Means for like 7-8 months, he succeeded to hold them, not to blow it. And it was a puzzle for us when he will start doing this as well, because Hamas became so popular because of this. In May, I think it was 20-something in May, the chief narrator of the Al-Aqsa gave a sermon. And he says, he describes, on that week also, the Mufti of Egypt and the Mufti of Saudi Arabia issued a fatwa, means a verdict.
Is the leader, huh? Yeah.
The religious leaders, that suicide attacks are not allowed in Islam. And everybody understood that they are doing it because America put pressure on them, and this is because of Israel.
But then there was the sermon in
and on Friday, there was the sermon. And the sermon, he talks about a battle in place named Mu'ta, which today in southern Jordan, when already in the days of Muhammad, he sent a force against the Byzantines in Palestine, or Eretz Israel, it was. And in that war, the Muslims were few, while the Byzantines were many, and they were defeated. And one of them, Ja'far ben Abi Talib, was killed by the Byzantines. And in his funeral, Muhammad said that he is in heaven and he is above heaven, flying above heaven. And he asks the Mufti in Jerusalem, asks his audience, is this a suicide? No, not at all. This is shahada, means this is martyrdom. And I am approaching everybody who issues fatwas these days. Beware of Allah. Be careful. Allah will punish you for your fatwas. Now, on the surface, he's talking about something which happened in the year of 630 CE. Some historical story. But the meaning of the story is that if somebody is being killed, it is not a suicide. It is martyrdom. And actually, he legitimizes
the suicide. Yeah.
So immediately, it was a Friday, I gave this recording, I recorded it. I gave a recording to the both Israeli channels, and my interpretation was to the correspondents that Arafat, who is paying the salary of this mufti, he actually now legitimizes suicide attacks.
Right.
And in both channels that evening, the newscast started with this news item.
So it was a big news.
And everybody agreed with my analysis that the meaning of this story from the year of 630 CE actually means...
It applied today.
It applied today.
Yeah.
And this is how... Now, if you bring him to court, he says, well, I told a story from 14 centuries ago. What did I say? Yeah. I quoted from the books. And this is how they do it.
Yeah.
They do it in very stealthy way. So in order to not to go to jail because they are inciting, but everybody who listens to them and understands what they say actually derives the conclusion and goes out to suicide.
Yeah. So this is one example. If we look to the West, the Western politicians, the media channels here in the West, how they look at the conflict between Israel and Gaza, what do politicians not see, according to you?
It's not only between us and Gaza. It's between us and our neighbors and Iran, actually the Islamic world. This is a war, a religious war, jihad, from their definition. It's a jihad against the Jews who are supported by the Christians.
Do you think that people in the West understand that enough?
I don't think so. Because people in the West do not understand what is a religious war because too many, especially in Europe, are atheists. And they don't understand what religion is, what religion can do, what religion can motivate people to do something.
Yeah.
Because they detach themselves from any religious thinking. So they don't believe that there are some people in the world who would go out to kill for the sake of Allah. They don't believe.
No. So it's difficult for them to relate to those kind of
whenever I'm talking about the jihad which Israel is suffering from, people tell me, you are a bigot, you are Islamophobe, you are racist. Because who can think today in the modern world, postmodern world, that there are religious wars. Religious war between the Huguenots and the Catholics in
Long time ago,
hundreds of years ago. Religious wars were in the Crusades. We are now in modern world, postmodern world. Who cares about religion these days? Yes, in the Islamic world, look, they will kill you if you draw the Prophet Muhammad. In the caricatures we saw. What happened in the Charlie Hebdo in Paris, how they murdered, I think, 12 people in the Charlie Hebdo newspaper place. Because they were making fun out.
So, if you're explaining all these kind of things, you know, the fact how we as Westerners look at the conflict, is there a solution for the conflict that is going on right now between Israel and the Middle East?
Well, the only solution is to establish emirates instead of states.
Emirates.
Emirates. Why? In the Middle East, the clan system is the most powerful system. And every state which was based on a clan is a successful state. Like Kuwait, which is based on a clan named Al-Sabah. Qatar is a stable state, not because of the oil or gas. It's because it was one family named Al-Thani. Dubai is Al-Maktoum. Al means family or clan. Abu Dhabi is Al-Nahyan. Saudi Arabia, Al Saud.
So you say that this system of
this
Emirates,
is the only system which works in the Arab world.
Because everybody is talking about the two-state solution.
Two-state solution is to create another Syria, another Iraq near us. Nobody with the mind would advocate it. Look, the problem with Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Libya, Sudan, Yemen, these failing states, because there are many groups, many clans, ethnic groups like Arabs, Turkmens, Berbers in North Africa, Armenians, religious groups, Christians, Muslims, Yazidis, Druze, Alawis, and many others, and sectarian groups, Shia, Sunnah, and so forth. When you create a conglomerate of many groups, you get a mayhem, because they continue to fight between themselves, as they did for many centuries. While if you base a state on one clan, you get a good country. It's not democracy, because the Western world thinks from democracy. It's not democracy.
But it would
Dubai is not democracy, but Dubai works without oil and without gas, because there's one clan which takes care of itself. Now, my solution for the Palestinian problem is exactly this:
Emirates.
To establish emirate in Hebron, for example, for the clans of Hebron, Jabri, Kawas, Menachem, Tamimi, Abu Sneina, they know how to deal with each other. They have a court, a tribal court which solves all the problems. Another emirate in Nablus, in the city of Nablus.
For the family.
For the families of Nablus. Another one in Jericho for the Arikat family. Another one in Ramallah for the families of Ramallah. Tulkarem, Kalkilia, and Jenin. While Israel should forever remain in the rural areas of Judea and Samaria, including the Jordan Valley.
But do you think Palestinians would be happy with such a solution?
Of course. The one who will not be happy is the Palestinian Authority. Those corrupt terrorists whom we, by mistake, brought from Tunisia. Because Peres and Begin, those ultra-modernist Israeli politicians of the 90s and later, they had absolutely no clue about the cultures of the Middle East.
But you say that Palestinian people living in the West Bank, in Gaza, they would be happy with an Emirate solution?
Of course, they hate the PA, they hate Hamas, especially those who do not want to cover their daughters and to, censor their TV at home or things like this. So they don't. They are forced sometimes, because otherwise they'll get a shot in the head, either by Hamas or by the PA. Right. But if you ask them and they talk frankly, they would prefer local government for themselves and leave the others.
I have one more question for you, Mordechai. Because the war has now been going on for almost a year. Do you think there will be peace soon?
If Israel restores the deterrence, this is when peace will come, and it will be temporary peace. since we are different, we are not Arabs, we are not Muslims, our neighbors reject us like an organ which is implanted into the body. This is their mindset. They don't accept the others.
Do you think that will ever change?
Until we wait until their culture will change, it will be a very long time. Meanwhile, the Middle East knows how to give temporary peace to entities which are strong, deterring, dangerous, powerful, and invincible. And this entity will get temporary peace. If Israel will be deterring, dangerous, powerful, united, invincible forever, it will enjoy temporary peace forever.
Dr. Mordechai Kedar, thank you so much
for coming to us today.
En u thuis ook bedankt voor het kijken naar deze uitzending van Christen voor Israël. En u kunt op de hoogte blijven van ons werk. Ga daarvoor naar onze website cvi.nl/actueel. Nogmaals, dank voor het kijken en graag tot de volgende keer.